Okay, trying this again. Hello, my name is Marcy Bond. I am actually recording this because I started crocheting 4 years ago because my daughter at the time, she was 7, she wanted to learn how to crochet and there weren't any people or classes that would take someone that young. So I went online and I watched some YouTube videos and I taught myself how to crochet so that I could teach my daughter how to crochet. Needless to say, she lost interest and I was hooked. Now I haven't really been crocheting for 4 years, even though that's how long it's been. I crocheted on and off for probably a year or 2 years and then I stopped. And this was one of the projects that I started on, was this beautiful Afghan. And the reason I'm separating this like with my hands is because I wanted to show you this. This is a hexagon Afghan, and that's the pattern. And I found this beautiful pattern online and I stopped working on it. And then when I came back to it just yesterday, I decided I wanted to crochet again with my free time, haha. I wanted to crochet again. When I went to do the pattern and I went to look for the pattern online, the person who had posted it had taken it off, and I spent 2 hours trying to figure out how to do this beautiful pattern because the Afghan isn't finished, and I figured if I was going to start working on something, I should finish what I have. And so that is what I'm doing, and it took me quite a while to figure it out, but I noticed that since the pattern was gone, and if I start and then stop again, I'm going to have to try to figure out what exactly I did, and I don't want to waste another 2 hours doing that when I can just record and write down and put it in a blog somewhere where it'll be safe, which is what I intend on doing. So this is what I figured out. So the first thing that I did is I started with a chain of 4. It might actually be smaller than this. I'm kind of playing with it because you're supposed to be able to make this hole there not to be a hole there. So it might be 3, probably 3, 4. And you can tighten this by pulling this in the back, but I haven't done it, and that's about as tight as it's going to go. And so then after you do a chain of 4, you do a slip stitch and you connect the ends together. And then you start doing a single crochet through the center. And you want to do 12 of those because if you notice on this, there are 12 petals. It's very pretty, but there are 12 petals. So once you've finished doing 12 stitches all the way through in the center, then you do another 12 single stitch through the top of the 12 of those 12 single stitch. And now what you do is, now it's kind of tricky. I don't really know the name of this stitch. I don't remember, but it's kind of like a half double stitch, or I think that's what it's called, a half double crochet stitch. And so what you do is you start with the first single crochet stitch and you go into the top like that, just through the top. Hopefully you can see that. And you want to, they usually say to stitch 3. I don't do 3. I usually do 2. So I'll do 1, 2 because it makes it too bulky up there and I want it to be consistent. And now here it comes, is this double half, that's what it's called, half crochet, double half crochet stitch. You go back into that same spot and you come through and you go through only 1 loop and then you go through all of it. So this is going to be, see, and it makes it a little, you can't really tell, but it makes, and then you close it off at the top, and I usually tighten it down. Then you do 1 stitch, and then now you do this double half crochet stitch, and you only go through half of it, 1 loop, and then you do another double half crochet stitch, and you go through 1 loop again, and then you go through and you pull it all the way through. See, I'm not very good at this, but I will get there. And then you close it off you tighten it down, and it gives this pretty little, almost petal, pretty little petalish type of stitch. So I'm going to do one stitch, and then I wrap it around, and I go through the top of that single crochet stitch, and then I wrap it around again as if I was going to finish off the, but I only go through one, and then I go through it again like this. I go through one, and then I go through all of them. There we go. And then I close it off at the top, and see how pretty that is? And then I do one stitch, and then I keep going all the way around until I have 12. So, oops, I did it all the way through. Shouldn't have. So there. I know it's exciting. And then one, and all the way through here. You go, you pull it through just one of the loops, then you do it. So if you're going to do a double crochet, pull it through one of the loops, and then you pull it through all of these loops, and then you close it off, one stitch, you go to the next one. And the reason you do the one stitch is you'll see here in a second, because I'm going to be doing, I hope I did that right. I'm going to be doing another layer of this, except for I added on, I do 3 instead of 2 of these funky little stitches. They're really pretty, but they're kind of funky little stitches. And hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Maybe not. Maybe not. I did something wrong there. I'm caught on something. I can tell. Okay, there we go. You pull off at the top. A lot of times I'll tighten that down by pulling it. So you go through the next one. You always want to make sure that you have 12, because once I had 13 and then I had to pull the whole thing apart. Each one of these usually takes me about 45 minutes. So you don't want to do that. Make sure I have the right amount. I'm distracted here. One through here. See through that? I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. So I'm doing is double crochet stitch. I go through just this one loop like that. So see how I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on top of there, and then I'm going to pull this whole thing through the top, and then I close it off. If I don't consider that close off as a stitch, then I do a stitch, and I go into the next one like this, and I pull it through that one ring, and then I do another, like I'm going to do a double crochet stitch, go through that one ring, up, I went through 2, and then I think if you can see it, and then I pull it, I yarn over and pull it all the way out there, and I pull it through here, tighten that down. If you see, I have, I'm going to do it this way. I have these pretty little stitches like that. And then I think I did a stitch already. Maybe I didn't. All right, go in. Through one loop. Down. Usually I stitch that in so I don't have to do it again. I might crop this video so it's not so much to watch. So here we go, and then I pull it all the way through. Come, all the way through. Beauty, there we go. I close it off. See, I closed it off. Another stitch. I'm almost through there. Now down in here, like I'm doing a double crochet stitch. I don't know why I have a hard time saying that. Through one loop, down here, in here, through one loop, and so if anybody knows who's watching this can tell me what kind of stitch this is. See, I tighten that down, I do a stitch. Let me count to make sure I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. Now I can close it off with just a slip stitch. I think that's what they're called. And I am ready to go with this one. So I need scissors. I can't believe I didn't do that. Cut this up, pull it through, and I'm ready to start again. And I will do the same process again, except for this time, here, see how pretty that is? This next time I will do 3. This will be a row of 3. So instead of 2, these are 2. The next row will be 3. I did a 4th row of, and that was 4. And then this top row is actually just triple crochet stitch. But there's something special in between this, in that you have to make loops in between, so for this to attach to. So I would just attach onto one of these, crochet onto it, then I would do 4 stitches, and then I would do a single crochet stitch here, then another 4 stitches and a single crochet stitch here, another 4 stitches and a single crochet stitch here, until I get all the way around here. And then I would start the triple crochet stitch, and there's 4 here, then I do, and I alternate. So I have 4, I do a stitch, and then I do 3, I do a stitch here, probably should be 2 stitches, and then I do 3, all in the same. So this has 6 here, all in the same area right here, and that gives it its point. If you see, there's a point here, and that's how I got the hexagon. And then I actually just sew them on together, although that did cause some problems, but oh well. Anyway, so that is how I do, that is how this, I'm going to write the pattern down as well, but that is the pattern for this hexagon Afghan. I hope it was helpful, and if anybody knows this type of stitch that is right here, could tell me what that is, I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks.